Appreciate y'all. Hey, look, it's your boy. So it's a lot been going on in this world. Please, before we get into this, please like, share, subscribe, comments, talk to me. I know a lot of people consume the shorter form of content that I be putting out, but it's cool. I fuck with it. Appreciate all the support. Just drop a subscribe, share it to one of your friends, at least share a short clip to start a conversation, because a lot of this stuff is what I do it for, to start a conversation. But we have a special one. I saw a video that ran across my social media and I wanted to play it. It's pretty much talking about how the younger generation was affected by the older generation. And now this conversation kind of sits home with me, because apparently I was known as the one to not necessarily respect, not say I disrespected my elders, but I didn't weigh certain stuff that they did in the past. I didn't know how to scale it and weigh it in association to my life personally. I just didn't. It would come off as disrespectful to them in some aspects. I mean, I can't really debate or refute that personally, but like it was just me. I also felt like a lot of the older traditions in itself were anti-me. Holidays, certain, you gotta go to church every Sunday. You gotta do all these certain things that we were taught in our culture from the older ones. I just personally was like, I don't think I fit in this world. I'm feeling this as a kid. You can't really have a conversation with other people like that, because most of us are consumed with the bullshit. This is why I don't teach Christmas. I don't teach holidays. Like, even when it comes to quote unquote historical people, I feel like history needs to start with our own family tree. Personally, this is me personally. I feel like me learning who my father and my grandfather and great grandfathers, I feel like that would have probably been more impactful personally to me, because I've been able to see a struggle that made sense in my eyes until I started learning about their struggles. Yeah, we had similar struggles, but these people are completely different. They come from a different shit. And the person that's trying to go against the bullshit stand out more now than ever. But we're going to get into this video to kind of give y'all something of what I'm saying on how the older ones affect the younger ones, right?
People who works 40 hours a week, can barely pay their rent, and seems to have like no forward trajectory. Some people will look at this and think, oh my God, these kids are so entitled, is actually because of the boomers. And I'm not blaming them, but let's understand this. So the entitlement that your children grow up with depend on what you teach them. We're saying, hey, I'm working 40 hours a week and I'm basically like stuck at neutral. There's no upward trajectory. And someone says you should work harder. They are operating based on the assumptions that they grew up with, where when you worked 40 hours a week 50 years ago, that was enough for upward financial trajectory. The ratio between income and acquiring a house and how much rent was and things like that were such that 40 hours a week was sufficient for upward trajectory. The world was also filled with opportunity to where if you exerted yourself a little bit harder, you could actually get promoted, you could start a side hustle, like whatever. So if we look at the period between like, let's say 1950 and like 2005, I think that was a period of unprecedented economic prosperity from a circumstantial standpoint. So when you have a generation of people who grow up with economic prosperity, their assumptions about how the world works are completely different. You can just start a .com in 1992 and you could sell it for a ton of money. Like, that's just what happened. If you were in college in the 60s, you could do a bunch of LSD and a bunch of marijuana on some liberal college campus, roll into some banking job, and then just get promoted. Have pensions and stuff that were relatively intact, and then you could retire at the age of 2000 with all of your .com stocks, and you could be totally fine. So then you have a generation of people with economic prosperity. And so what do they instill in their children? They instill in their children that, hey, if you sort of like work somewhat, but you don't need to work super hard, like you just kind of lift yourself up by your bootstraps, because that's what I did. Because when I lifted myself up, I had so much upward momentum that it was easy to lift myself up by my bootstraps. So you should be able to do it too. So what I've noticed is that we have an entitled generation. And the reason we have an entitled generation is because we learned that entitlement. Our perception of what the world was supposed to be was based on a generation above us for whom things were objectively easier. And now we inherit a way of looking at the world, a relationship with work and our expectations from our parents. And then now we are getting crushed because the reality has changed.
Man, he said a lot. He said a lot. And I was going to stop it and kind of piece it up and break it, but I want you to hear his whole statement. Number one, I fully agree with him. And that's number one. I fully agree with the take of our parents were not living in our reality. So we can't take what they're saying life should be to be life for us. Because let's be honest, most of your parents worked the same job. The ones who did work, they worked the same job for 20 years, 10 years, 15 years. That was back when companies had stability. Businesses and companies had stability. Businesses and company weren't going bankrupt every 10 minutes, coming back with a new name, operating a new LLC, operating under another trust fund. And you didn't have all of these businesses maneuvering the way it was back in the day. It used to be when you kept your name, it meant something from a business standpoint. Now you have a president who filed for bankruptcy 6 times. Your name in a business don't mean nothing. So what does that do? That gets rid of the traditions, the 30-year tradition jobs, or that helps get rid of the 30-year tradition jobs. That helps get rid of a lot of shit. That changes a lot of shit for us now. It's harder for you to be stable. It's harder for you to find that stability. Where do we get the stability? We're forced to get the stability from jobs like police. We're forced to get the stability from military. We're forced to get the stability from healthcare. We're forced to get the stability from shit that we know have been here through and through. This is what we're forced to do. Bad news is these jobs are not increasing the pay according to the cost of living. Back in the day, it's nothing to get a house built. Back in the day, they were handing out houses. It was at one time my mom got a house built. We moved in the house. My mom's mortgage was like $130, $150. What the fuck? This back in the day, and they were struggling. There's no disrespect, but niggas was struggling paying cheap fucking rent, cheap mortgages, struggling. It was taking them out. Too stressful. These same people got houses paid for. These same people are in positions right now that, okay, y'all are good now. I'm talking about the ones who did right. The ones who was fucked up back then, they fucked up today. They know what the fuck we talking about, and they know what we're going through. The ones who fucked up know what's happening. The ones who still gotta work, they know what's happening. Bear with me. There is a reason why, though. Another reason why we're not being compensated on these jobs. And nobody wants to talk about it. See, when I was young and getting out the Navy, actually even before I went into the Navy, I remember being young, and I remember like you could easily get into a trade and work that motherfucker for years. And I'm saying, even to my point, trades were still around. You still knew what a plumber was. You still, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still knew what a mechanic was. You still knew, what electrician, like, people still work these jobs. Like we saw people working these jobs. We saw people cutting grass. We saw people so I grew up where you saw some sense and resemblance of physicality when it comes to working. This younger generation, I look, and when, a couple of years back when I was working at the shipyards, I realized it was so many older people at my job. And when I mean older, I'm talking late 50s, 60s, middle 60s, late 60s, punching on 70 at my job. I got a little homie right now. He young homie, 22, putting in applications. I remember back in the day when you wanted to be an electrician, they didn't hire older people to do these jobs. They didn't hire older people because physically you couldn't do these jobs. It was like a requirement for you to be young. Now, shit. Now they don't want to. I've noticed this. So now what I tell my young nigga who trying to stay out the street, but he can't find a job that could help him survive because it costs so fucking much to live in this motherfucker. Let me play this video.
Companies say they want day one ready workers. That means, well, less training and fewer entry-level opportunities for young Americans.
I'm turning 64.
Jackie, day It is a growing divide in the labor market. Boomers holding on to their jobs longer, leaving little room left at the conference table for poor Gen Z. New data showing that hiring for workers 25 and under, it's actually down more than 45% since 2019. But for those 65 and older, it's up 80%. Companies say they want day one ready workers. That means, well, less training and fewer entry-level opportunities for young Americans.
We are at war, and this is gonna sound crazy because I know people seeing me go at certain people, and they might question certain stuff about me. I'm gonna tell you like this: I don't give a fuck about nobody, none of that shit. I call bullshit, and this bullshit came across my desk. Why? We are at war with our older generation. Not just a war of finances, a war of jobs, or not just that. We are at war with our older generation, their traditions, their values, their views. In that first video, he talked about how our older generation grew up during a time to where economically it was better and easier for them to survive making less than what we can do now. I know that to be a fact. Back in the day, $40,000 for a home, you could do that. These people survived off making $17 an hour. Fast forward today, the young people are literally, I'm seeing this. This is what I'm seeing working. They are purposefully not hiring young people. They're purposefully not trying to pay a young person to hire a old crippled motherfucker that's not doing shit at the job. Or even if he is doing shit, it's nowhere near to the level that it could be by just bringing in younger people. Why? because they could always rehire the next old person that get out, because they know that these old motherfuckers is just gonna keep staying. They're gonna stay there. Then they could just keep recycling these old motherfuckers. And it's a buddy system. They just keep, I'm seeing this shit. I'm going through this as a young nigga. Seeing these people really, I really cannot work. And it's like a culture shock to a young person, because you think like, damn, are these people really against me? Like, I understand I don't got no experience, but like, I'm working hard. I'm showing up to work. I'm the one who got to carry all these fucking tools up these big ass stairs. I'm carrying all these heavy ass wires. I'm sacrificing my body. I'm sacrificing the best years of my life for this shit right now. And you telling me I can't get paid because I don't have the amount of years this motherfucker who's sitting at this fucking desk got? They're literally using older motherfuckers to make sure they don't hire your kids. So what the fuck is your kids gonna do? Only thing they only got a few options. And everything is fucked. Go to the streets. Fuck. Go to jail. Fuck. Military. The chances of you being traumatically damaged is very high. Same with being a police officer. Just look at the numbers, nigga. The suicide rates, the alcohol abuse, the drug abuse for military and police is through the roof. Every option is fucked as a young man. And they just throw that shit on you. Meanwhile, a generation of motherfuckers who had it easy looking down at us like, y'all just can't get it together. Motherfucker, you bought your house when that shit was $15, nigga. How the fuck you gonna talk about me? They gave you that bitch with Harriet Tubman, 40 acres and a mule ass. They gave you that land. Paid $100 for a motherfucking acre. Get your bitch ass. Stop talking to me. You couldn't be my age and survive what I done went through. All this shit we done went through. Motherfucking crisis and shit. World shutting down. Niggas fucked up. The YNs terrorizing shit. Y'all ain't go through no shit like that. It's so motherfucking dangerous outside. Everybody has to stay inside. Literally. It's so dangerous outside. I ain't never seen it. Growing up right now make me appreciate where I was. It was safer back then. It was safer in the 90s, early 2000s. It was sweet. It was sweet. We could go outside. They ain't give a damn. We walking to school. I'm walking miles by myself. It don't fucking matter. We ain't had to worry about human trafficking. You ain't had to worry about none of that shit. I'm sure certain bullshit was happening, but it was so rare. You had a community of people that made sure none of that shit happened to you. Now, everybody's going to either pull their phone out, and in the background, they just saying, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? You ain't have to do that. What the fuck? Fuck out of here. Shit is crazy. And this is another way that the older generation is fucking us over. For the young niggas that grew up, bring the old heads to the front of the conversation. Fuck the old heads. I'm gonna be honest with you. The motherfuckers, they have a sixth sense of this is helpful now. Because they are used to life being so fucking easy, roses, peaches, and creams and shit. They think everything cool now. Let me show you how much. I ain't gonna lie, I be finding some of the craziest stuff. Watch this. Somebody come look at this.
Jobs, joining interviews, and even contacting managers on behalf of their Gen Z kids. And they're doing it at high rates.
Y'all are applying for jobs, attending interviews. What? How y'all might as well have sex for them too, have babies for them. Y'all might as well carry the babies for them. Y'all might as well. This don't feel like a targeted attack, y'all. Somebody say, oh, well, no, they doing it out of love. They doing it out of love. They let these folks finish.
Joining me now is Julia Toothaker, a chief career strategist with Resume Templates. Julia, I have to tell you, I was floored when I read this. Were you as stunned as I am about what you found?
I was. I could not believe how many parents actually sat in on interviews with their kids, either virtually or sometimes in person. That absolutely floored me.
So what are the employers saying about this?
I can't imagine that most employers are happy about it. I think that it really shows the lack of maturity in the kids and the Gen Zers that are doing this. But I'm sure that there are some employers, especially of smaller organizations. I think of those mom and pop shops that are probably okay with it, but I would not think that that is the norm.
And what's the dynamic that's triggering this? Are kids socially awkward? Are the parents nervous that their kids won't get a job? What is it?
I think it's all of that. I think, we have a generation that has been called the anxious generation. And I think that that's some of what we're seeing in this behavior from parents. But I also think that parents see what's going on in terms of getting a job and they know that it's a lot more difficult. And so I think they think that they're trying to help their kids, but when in reality, it's holding their kids back because they need to be more independent in the workplace.
I was just going to say, if I'm an employer and the mama shows up at the job interview, I'm thinking maybe this kid's not ready.
Exactly. I think most employers are going to think that way, especially when you get into more of a corporate space. You have to be able to act independently. You can't have your parents speaking on your behalf. Maybe in some very unique situations, they can call in if you're ill or something happens, but that's very, very rare.
Yeah. Very quickly, is this a sign that the kids should do what I did, get a job when you're like 13, 14 years old? So by the time it's time for a real job, you're good?
I think any kind of work experience for younger kids is helpful, but also we want them to be in school and be students and learn as much as possible. But I do think that parents need to be guides more than coming in and doing the job for their kids.
There you go. Land that helicopter and let them learn how to fly on their own. Julia Toothaker, thank you so very much for
At some point in time, there has to be a conversation put to, we weren't properly prepared for this world. We wasn't properly prepared for this world because around the time where we should have been adjusting to certain stuff, it's like we got to do all like the world our parents lived in and the world we lived in is virtually completely different. Back in the day, they used to say, okay, well, you getting out at 18 and all this shit. But now you have parents having to do job interviews for kids. It's definitely not a good thing amongst us, as a people. Our social skills suck. I notice even on my social media, I can't even have a sensible conversation with nobody because everything is just so surrounded around, if you don't agree with me, I don't like you, then you must be this, you must be that, you must be whatever. Like, our communication sucks. These are the parents of these goddamn Gen Zers. Parents is so emotional. We just come from generations of emotional ass people. And then we wonder why we can't deal with relationships. We come from generations of liars, of cheaters, of scammers. And then we wonder why these young kids can't have relationships and shit. Why these young kids confused in life when every single time they have experienced something from their parents, it's been bullshit, toxic bullshit. That shit is crazy. Like, man, I dealt with this female, and just seeing her go back to her family after me and her, stopped dealing with each other like that. Knowing the type of toxicity that comes from those people, it's almost like seeing somebody like go off to probably be executed. Because you know deep down that you're going to go back into the same environment you failed in, your family failed in, mama, daddy, uncles, like your whole bloodline failed in. You're going back into that same system, never really trying to break free. This is what happens when, you know, your parents don't want to let go and you're taught not to let go. You know, that was something for me that was probably one of my hardest things to grow out of. But I feel like I was glad that I grew up the way I grew up. You know, I grew up not a family person. I didn't grow up, you know, with a father. So my sense of family, you know, the family reunions started to slow down when I was growing up. People stopped doing family things and having family time when I grew up. So my ideas and sense of family was kind of not the way, you know, it was for my other brothers and sister probably was. Like, my idea was family was, man, shit, no, nobody give a fuck about you. So you learn how to adjust by yourself, being isolated. So I had to learn how to have a lot of self-talk and a lot of deep dives and learn how to be self-aware of myself, because I know for a fact dealing with other people and I'm not getting my best, you know. I'm not getting my best worrying about if I'm meeting the approval of people that honestly, they don't even really care about what I feel like I need any goddamn way. And then every single time I listen to them, I feel like it's like a goal that I could never obtain. I could never reach. Thank God I got older. Thank God I made it to this stage in my life, because I could see how all of the stresses and shit and the emotional thought wars and feeling like I'm inadequate and all that shit that I've experienced. I'm feeling like that for a real reason. Cause I'm actually feeling pressure. I'm feeling so much pressure at a young ass age, because I'm looking at, damn, I know I gotta get out when I'm 18, but what the fuck am I gonna do? I know I gotta do something with my life, but what the fuck am I gonna do? And in comes Navy recruiter. So now you have a lot of young people don't know what the fuck they're doing with their life. They're scared because they feel unprepared for life. In comes Navy recruiter. Is it wrong? No, I don't think it's wrong. I think it makes complete sense, actually, for a Navy recruiter to come in, or military or police officer or whatever one of these institutions that can provide stability, to come in and provide that stability. That's what it's here for. People's lives change because of this stuff. I'm one of them. But it don't negate the fact that when you're young, that shouldn't even be a thing. I should be able to know that I'm working, and the cost of living should be set at a pace to where, hey, I could afford to live and work and be a productive member of society, not have to be a fucking slave. And guess what? Part of that reason is because of your parents. Your parents. Generation before you that had life way easier than you, was able to own shit. Hell, they own everything right now. They're the ones with the money. You don't got no fucking money. They're hogging the money. They got stocks when them bitches was 10 cents a penny. They got everything when it was cheap as a bitch. Everything. They were the ones that had the money to invest back then. They have had life on easy mode this whole goddamn time. And they're making sure you stay out of the workforce. And they're forcing you to go to jail go to hell, join the military, be a police officer, do all the shit we don't want to do. And we do all the shit you want to do. That sounds like we supposed to be respecting certain shit. What that sound like to y'all? And then on the other hand, you have the other motherfuckers talking about, oh, I'm gonna go on this interview with you, baby. Cause that's helpful. This is crazy, man. That whole generation just, hey. Listen, those ideas, I'm so glad that there's more and more people running away from all of the traditional bullshit. From the school system, from all of the bullshit that they taught us. Oh my fucking God, them motherfuckers was wrong. I ain't saying all of them. And this ain't a disrespect of our older people. This ain't that. This is, we talking about them older people. We know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm saying. Fuck that. I'm talking about what we at war with. I'm talking about the ones that's keeping you from your jobs, the ones that got the keys to your future, that's sitting in these seats in these positions getting paid all this money doing nothing. Meanwhile, you're busting your ass, slaving, and you're slaving and can't even survive. You're slaving and can't even live. Meanwhile, there's no opportunity for you to advance even when you get a job. It ain't no opportunity. Guess who there? I mean, y'all could do y'all. If this is something to me that I remember seeing and be like, damn, man, these motherfuckers would literally hold up a position knowing that they don't even do nothing. We could actually bring in people that could actually work or that need the experience to get paid more money. They don't want to pay you. They don't want to train you. I feel bad. That's why I tell my young nigga, like, bro, build up yourself, build up your platform, build up you. Figure out how to make money from your house. Figure out how to make bread from your crib. Don't be in this motherfucker just depending on the job, because the next thing is these jobs is going out of business left and right. They're shutting down. They're laying off. They don't got no loyalty. There is no more jobs that's going to even carry a nigga 20 years no more. What we're going through and what we're experiencing in this life is completely different than what our parents experienced. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They have no idea what we're going through. And to think of, damn, I got possibly 40 more years of this. Do y'all know how this shit gonna look in 20 years from now? If it's looking like this right now, can you imagine in 2046 what the fuck we're gonna be seeing? The cost of living for us to be old heads? Can y'all imagine what it's gonna cost for you to buy a house in 2046? See, they gonna be all dead and fucking gone. They gonna be dead and fucking gone. Or they gonna be in fucking nursing homes and shit, eating pudding. We the ones that gonna have to deal with these fucking prices, these interest rates. We the ones that's gonna have to deal with all this shit that they didn't have to deal with. All this shit of them holding the positions and not allowing us to be able to work for fucking 20 years, build our way up in companies. All the jobs that y'all take is gonna affect us in the future. So I'm gonna say this respectfully. Fuck y'all niggas. Y'all niggas need to retire. And matter of fact, since I'm on this, since we're doing this, Aaron Rodgers, you a fuck nigga. LeBron James, fuck you. Floyd Mayweather, you shouldn't have been boxing that goddamn long. I don't want to see you get in the ring again. Fuck you. I don't want to see nobody that did anything in the motherfucking 90s or early 2000s. Fuck you, get out. Let the young niggas shine. Let these young athletic people make young athletic plays and look good in sports. Fuck everybody, KD, Steph, y'all niggas fucked up. We need the next generation of stars to shine. Y'all niggas is fucking blocking shit. Fuck y'all niggas, man. I'm out this shit. Why?